we're going into using our Admira Fusion Extra today because this is a bulk fill composite. Also choosing it because we don't care about color. This stuff works for all the colors. It matches really, really well to everything. It's magical. You're going to turn your class 2 into a class 1. Again, it's nice to use the Admira Fusion Extra because it's a bulk fill. But I still like to put it in, and I'm not filling it all the way up to where the ridge would be. But I'm going to place it and then pack it. You pack it. I don't do flowable. I'm going to talk about it. You can do flowable in your boxes, but my preference would be to get in there and just really smush the material outwards. So now you've got this almost slightly U shape of your composite where you've really pushed it outwards to build it into, the class 2. And the plastic instrument works really, really well for that, for getting in there. And you can see it looks like I filled it up completely in this video, but you almost lose some of that fill because you're smushing it all the way out and making sure you're filling in those spaces. Once you remove your matrice, you might notice that, like you can see here, because the contour turned out great where I had it burnished up against another tooth, but it was a little excess on the tooth that is going into that space that's next to it. So getting your red stripe fine diamond to go in and clean out and clean it, buff that perpendicular to your box, because if you use a carbide burr, the carbide burr ditches out a lot more. It's really hard to ditch out these fine diamonds, and you get to use them again. We buy these all from Meisinger, and just buff against it to give your filling some shape. Next, now I'm bringing this up. I'm doing this as a wash, rinse, repeat, but when you have just your DO and say, hypothetically we had an MO on number 31, we could put 2 of these matrices, and you want to smash your wedge as hard as you can. If your wedge is loose, go to a higher wedge. If your wedge is loose, you are not closing off the box in the bottom properly, okay? So that's a really important part of this. And then again, now you come back in here, and it's going to be really important to really burnish again, and burnish really, really hard. Burnish with your bicep. Now, there are a lot of people that like to line their boxes with flowable. I'm not opposed to it, but if you are, use the Voco Heavy Flow because it has a higher fill, and you want that higher fill to hold up to occlusal forces. If you are using something like a light flow, you could get more flash, and you risk some breakage and ditching out. So the heavy stuff doesn't end up with flash. It's so thick that it kind of blends in really nicely. And so then you can do that, and we'll just go through this video really fast. So that would be if you wanted to put the flow in there, and then you can fill it. And again, go ahead and shape it again. Clean off any excess. Light cure it. Add your second step to make it from a class 2 to class 1. And boom shakalaka, you're done. Okay? So again, I'm just going to reiterate using the heavy flow if you're going to use it in your boxes. Okay. From there, then you're going to go ahead and finish your contours, adjust your occlusion, try to polish in some of your anatomy if you can. Those 3 burrs are the ones that I would prefer to use, and it's all I use for polishing. I'll use my football one first. And you can lean it against your enamel to follow your enamel contours. And then finally, on posteriors, I'm going to polish it up with a brownie, and you're done. And it's easy steps.